How to make epoxy resin river table with wood. Best 150 epoxy resin table ideas with top tips. Be one of the HD Interiors family. To make your home vibrant, HD Interiors channel is your way to build a contemporary home. River tables are becoming more and more popular. These tables look great in any living or dining space, and they blend well with a wide variety of styles and design elements. Whether your home is modern, contemporary, minimalist, rustic, or farmhouse, an epoxy river table will be a perfect choice if you are looking for a statement piece of furniture that will impress all your guests. To put it simply, a river table is a long piece of wood that is cut into two pieces and separated by a river made of a different material, epoxy resin or glass. In this video, we show you more than 100 epoxy resin table design ideas, available in a variety of materials, designs, shapes, and finishes. When it comes to wood, walnut and oak are popular choices, and for the river epoxy resin, epoxy can be dyed in various colors, and even decorated with rocks, seashells, and flowers. If you think that you need a professional craftsman to have a beautiful epoxy table, let us tell you that you don't, if you have the stomach for it. In this video, we've laid out a few helpful tricks, as well as a short how-to detailing exactly how you can create an epoxy resin table that will leave your guests asking where you bought it. It might seem like quite the undertaking, but with the right tools, the right motivation, and a few pointers, soon you'll be on your way to creating an epoxy resin table that would put even the most prestigious furniture store to shame. Why are epoxy resin tables so trendy lately? In recent years, epoxy river tables have been all the rage all over the world. Although they seem to have a following all over the globe, the origin of this aesthetic movement seems to have originated in the good old USA. Their popularity seems to be growing exponentially, and why wouldn't it? Epoxy resin tables fit virtually any aesthetic and feel at home in any space. Whether you have a small apartment in New York, or having a well-deserved cup of bourbon on your ranch in the light of the Texas sunset, these tables just feel right. How do epoxy river tables pull this off though? Well, it's a combination of factors, but the primary reason seems to be that they have no aesthetic limit, allowing anyone to create one that fits their style and the space they are placing their epoxy river table in. Let's face it, you know what your living space needs far better than the team over at the local IKEA does. Best epoxy resin for pouring the tabletop. Incredible solutions. Deep pour resin. Finding the best resin for the meat of your resin table product can be a real head scratcher. We think we have found the perfect product for the job though, and we think you'd benefit greatly from this amazing product. Here's a short review of its attributes and how it might benefit you. If you are looking for a clear casting resin for your next tabletop project, look no further than this amazing clear casting resin from Incredible Solutions. If you think that all clear casting resins are the same, you aren't alone, but you should know that not all are made quite as equally as one would be led to believe. Best tabletop resin for your final coat. Stone Coat Countertops Resin. Once you have the meat of your table filled up, you might want to consider giving your masterpiece a final coat. They say that a workpiece is only as good as its finish, and if that is true, you'll be doing yourself quite the disservice if you decide not to try this one out. Here's what we thought. Now that you have the meat of the matter sorted, it's time for you to consider what your finishing touches will be. Besides sanding down the edges of your table, or deciding whether you'd like to add some wood stain, you should consider what finishing coat you'll be adding to your existing resin filler. Choosing the right wood for your table. If the secret to baking a good cake is choosing only the best ingredients. Then the trick to creating the best epoxy river table is choosing the best wood. When it comes to epoxy resin tables, the one aspect you don't want to cheap out on is the quality of wood you select for your workpiece. Why? Your table is going to see a lot of mileage in its lifetime, and you're going to be investing a lot of your time, money, and elbow grease in bringing it to life. The last thing you want is your hard work slowly, or quickly, falling apart in front of your eyes. The wood used should be as natural as possible. Here, for example, a board made from a tree trunk that is at least 4 centimeters thick is a good choice. Known commonly as natural edge bark, looks particularly stylish here. You can find such a piece of wood in a good carpenter's workshop, at a timber dealer, or online. Alternatively, you can of course use 2 wooden boards from the DIY store, which is cut into a slightly curved shape on one side using a jigsaw, whether from a carpenter or the DIY store. The most important thing is that the wood is well dried. Ideally, the moisture content should be less than 12%. Preparing your wood board. You have 2 options for the preparation of the wood. Firstly, you can prepare the wood itself. For this, you need a circular saw and a planer to produce the right length and thickness, and then divide the wood down the middle. On the other hand, you also have the option of buying the boards in the desired thickness and length, or simply buying some wood board and having it cut and plan to fit your desired application. If you have little experience in processing wood, this option is far easier. Additionally, purchasing machines capable of processing wood in this manner can be quite costly, so consider your options and your budget thoroughly. Even if your initial piece of wood is quite large, it is advisable to have it prepared by a professional before you process it further. Before proceeding, you should make sure that your 2 boards are exactly the same length. Also, the side edges must be cut at right angles to the straight outer sides. Keep in mind that it's also important that both pieces of wood have the same thickness. They should also be absolutely flat. If in doubt, it is advisable to commission a joiner to carry out the finishing work. Preparing your workspace. Since epoxy resin is quite a sensitive substance, you should prepare your workspace appropriately before you begin casting. Very high temperatures, cold, or humidity can have a negative effect on the appearance and performance of your resin. In addition, unfavorable external conditions can affect the drying time of the resin. The ideal temperature for processing epoxy resin is a minimum of 20 Celsius. This should also be considered during storage. Even if the room temperature is an ideal 20 C, if the temperature drops significantly towards the floor, the thermometer should only show 15 C to 17 C. If the epoxy resin were to be stored on the floor at these temperatures, tiny, unsightly bubbles could quickly form in the resin. These cannot be removed very easily, even with a hot air dryer. Therefore, it is better to store the material on a workbench or shelf. Another important factor is that the work area should also be a dust-free, dry, and well-ventilated setting. In short, we explained to you how to make an epoxy resin river table, and the most important tips for dealing with epoxy resins to get the best results. In an upcoming video, we will explain to you in detail how to make an epoxy resin river table, step by step. Just be prepared to watch the video soon. If you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to leave your comment. In the end, don't forget to hit the like button if you liked this video, and subscribe to HD Interiors to make a contemporary home. Thanks for watching.